Ever imagine a world where the founding fathers almost said, okay, you can be president for life?
Yeah.
Almost happened.
It's crazy.
It's just one of the things you find out when you really start digging in to the creation of the Constitution.
Yeah.
And we're going to do that today. You go behind the scenes at the 1787 Constitutional Convention.
Absolutely.
And we're using history that doesn't suck as our source material here.
It's a great podcast. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're not just talking about the dry facts.
Right.
We're going to get into the drama, the personalities, all the compromises.
Yeah, and it all starts with understanding just how precarious the situation was for this young nation.
Okay.
I mean, their first try at government, the Articles of Confederation, was a complete mess.
Right. It's like the podcast really brings that to life.
Yeah.
No power to tax, tons of debt.
Oh, yeah, they couldn't even pay their debts.
And then states were always fighting with each other.
Constant bickering.
And then, of course, there's Shays' Rebellion.
Shays' Rebellion was a turning point.
I mean, think about that. You have these farmers.
Many of them Revolutionary War veterans.
Yeah.
Driven to desperation, they just couldn't take it anymore.
The government couldn't do anything for them.
No, they couldn't pay them. They were losing their farms.
So they felt like they had to fight.
Exactly. They had no other choice.
And it was basically veterans fighting against other veterans.
All because this central government was so weak.
Yeah.
It was a wake-up call.
So where does James Madison fit into all of this?
He's really the guy who made the Constitutional Convention happen.
Okay.
He saw that things were falling apart, and he was like, we need to fix this, and we need to fix this now.
It sounds like he was pretty intense about it.
He was totally committed.
Yeah.
I mean, the podcast even says he got to Philly like 11 days early.
Wow.
That's how serious he was.
He knew what was at stake.
Absolutely.
So he gets there early.
Yeah.
And then what?
Well, here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
All these other delegates, they were delayed,
Okay.
and that actually ended up being super important. Well, because it gave the guys from Virginia and Pennsylvania all this extra time to hang out together.
Ah.
And they didn't just hang out. They had these dinners at Ben Franklin's house.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, fancy dinners where they would talk about all this stuff.
So these were more than just like social gatherings?
Oh, yeah. This is where they really started hashing things out.
Okay.
They talked about what they wanted the new government to look like.
So it wasn't just about tweaking the articles?
No, they were thinking bigger than that.
Okay. And what came out of those discussions?
Well, this is where the Virginia Plan started taking shape.
Okay.
They came up with ideas like the separation of powers, having a two-house legislature,
Okay.
and a national court system.
And the power to veto state laws, right?
Yep. They were really aiming for a strong central government.
So by the time the convention officially started,
Uh-huh.
the Virginia delegation was like a united front.
Exactly. They had their act together.
Okay. So the convention kicks off and they present this bold new plan.
Mm-hmm.
What was the reaction from the other delegates?
Well, I think a lot of them were pretty shocked.
Big sense.
They thought they were coming to make a few small changes.
Yeah.
Not completely start over.
Right.
And the Virginia Plan was a big departure.
Yeah. The podcast makes it clear that a lot of Americans at that time didn't even think of themselves as Americans.
Yeah.
They were loyal to their state first.
Exactly. So this idea of a powerful national government was a hard sell.
So you had this clash between those who wanted a strong nation and those who wanted to protect the states.
Right. Nationalism versus federalism.
Did anyone try to defend the Virginia plan?
James Wilson from Pennsylvania,
Okay.
he argued that a one-house legislature would be too powerful.
Yeah.
He called it legislative despotism, which is a pretty strong term.
That does sound scary.
Yeah, he was worried about too much power being concentrated in one place.
But what about the smaller states?
Oh, they were not happy.
Yeah, I bet they felt threatened by the whole idea of representation based on population.
You bet.
I mean, it would basically give all the power to the big states.
Exactly. And that's when George Reed from Delaware really made his point.
What did he do?
He basically said, if you get rid of the one vote per state rule, I'm out of here.
He was ready to walk out of the whole thing.
Yep, that's how strongly he felt.
Wow.
It was a big moment.
So you have this standoff national power versus states' rights, big states versus small states.
Yeah, things were getting tense.
So what happened next?
Well, William Patterson from New Jersey,
Okay.
he comes up with another plan.
And what was that all about?
This was called the New Jersey Plan,
Okay.
and it was basically designed to calm down the smaller states.
By doing what?
Well, instead of throwing out the Articles of Confederation completely,
Okay.
they wanted to keep the one vote per state system.
Okay.
And they also wanted to limit the power of the national government.
So it was kind of like a middle ground between the Virginia plan and just keeping things the same.
Right, they were trying to find some common ground.
Okay, so now you have two competing plans on the table.
Yeah, and things are pretty heated.
Then what happens?
Well, this is where things get really wild.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
Alexander Hamilton steps up and he's like, hey, what if we had a president for life?
The president for life.
Yeah,
That sounds pretty crazy.
it does.
It doesn't sound very democratic.
I know.
What was he thinking?
Well, it might seem strange to us now, but back then,
Yeah?
a lot of people were worried about having too much democracy.
Really?
Yeah, they were afraid of mob rule,
Okay.
and they also didn't want a tyrant to take over.
So they were kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Exactly. They were trying to find that sweet spot.
It's crazy to think that these founding fathers who we think of as these perfect heroes,
Yeah.
they were just as messed up as the rest of us.
They were human.
Yeah.
They made mistakes. They had their biases.
And they were just trying to figure things out as they went along.
That's
So we have the Virginia plan wanting a strong national government, the New Jersey plan trying to protect the states,
right.
and then Hamilton's off proposing a president for life.
Yeah.
How on earth did they ever agree on anything?
It took weeks and weeks of arguing.
Wow.
And some people even suggested they just pray for guidance.
Really?
Yeah, it was that intense.
But eventually they did come up with a solution.
They did.
And
but
what was it?
It's a compromise so brilliant that it's still the foundation of our government today.
Okay, tell me more.
That's where we'll pick up next time.
Oh, go on.
You'll have to wait for the Connecticut Compromise.
All right, I guess I can wait.
It's worth it, trust me.
You've got me hooked.
Yeah.
Tell me about this Connecticut Compromise. What's so brilliant about it?
It's actually pretty simple when you get down to it.
Yeah.
They took the best parts of the Virginia plan and the New Jersey plan
Right.
and combined them to create a two-house legislature.
So two separate groups of lawmakers.
Exactly. And each house has a different way of deciding how many representatives each state gets.
Okay, I'm listening.
So the lower house, which we know as the House of Representatives, is based on population.
Makes sense. The more people you have, the more representatives you get.
Right, just like the Virginia plan proposed.
Okay, so that gives the bigger states more say.
Exactly.
But what about the smaller states? Where do they fit in?
That's where the Senate comes in.
All right.
In the Senate, every state gets the same number of representatives, 2 senators per state.
No matter how big or small they are.
Exactly. That way, the smaller states wouldn't get completely overshadowed by the bigger ones.
So it's a balancing act.
Exactly. They found a way to make both sides happy.
Well, mostly happy, I guess.
Yeah, it took a lot of arguing and negotiating to get there.
Can you imagine? But they managed to move forward
They did.
and create this framework for a united government,
Yeah, but there's one big issue that we haven't talked about yet.
which is
Slavery.
right. It's kind of hard to ignore that.
Yeah, especially since so many of the delegates were slave owners themselves.
It's tough to reconcile, right?
Yeah, how can you fight for liberty and freedom while simultaneously owning other human beings?
Yeah.
The podcast really highlights how uncomfortable this topic was for them. They danced around it, using all sorts of euphemisms.
And they never actually used the word slavery in the Constitution.
Right, they avoided it like the plague.
But it was still there, lurking beneath the surface,
Oh, absolutely.
especially with the 3/5 compromise. That's a tough one to swallow.
Yeah, that was a dark moment.
Basically, they agreed to count each enslaved person as 3/5 of a person
Right.
when it came to determining representation in the House.
Yeah, it was a way to give the southern states more power.
Power based on people who had no rights at all.
It's a pretty stark example of how political convenience can trump morality.
Yeah.
Some delegates were really torn up about it, like John Dickinson.
What'd he say?
He opposed the compromise. He saw it as a betrayal of everything they were fighting for.
But in the end, they went along with it.
They did. The threat of the nation breaking apart was just too great.
The South was basically saying, end slavery and we're out of here.
Right. They weren't going to budge on that issue.
So the delegates had to make a choice,
Unity or their values.
and they chose unity.
It's a heavy thing to think about.
Yeah, knowing that our nation was built on such a flawed compromise.
It reminds us that history is complicated
Yeah.
and that even the most brilliant people can make terrible mistakes.
So the Connecticut Compromise was just one piece of the puzzle.
Right. There's still a lot more to figure out.
What?
Well, for one, they had to decide how to choose the president.
And that's where the Electoral College comes in, right?
Exactly. They had to find a balance between the popular vote and the influence of the states.
Which is still a topic of debate today.
It certainly is.
It's not the most straightforward system.
Well, None of this was easy.
They were creating something totally new.
Yeah, there was no blueprint for this kind of government.
The podcast mentions Gouverneur Morris, who helped to write the final version of the Constitution.
He was a key figure.
He's the one who came up with "We the People."
Yeah, that's all him.
It's pretty amazing that they were able to pull it all together.
It was a huge accomplishment.
The podcast even mentions a big party they threw at City Tavern when it was all done.
Yeah, they knew how to celebrate.
I bet.
But even then, it wasn't over yet.
Right, they still had to get the states to ratify the Constitution.
Exactly. They needed at least 9 out of 13 states to say yes.
And that was no easy feat.
Not at all. But that's a story for another time.
Okay, fine. But I'm already looking forward to it.
It's a good one.
So they finished up in Philly.
Yeah.
39 delegates signed the Constitution,
3 refused to sign.
and Rhode Island didn't even show up.
Yeah, they boycotted the whole thing.
It just shows you how much disagreement there was.
It wasn't a perfect process.
Not by a long shot.
But they managed to find enough common ground to create something truly remarkable.
It's a reminder that even with all our flaws and differences,
Yeah.
we can still come together and achieve great things.
We can.
You know, it's amazing to think that this document
Yeah.
that they created during a hot summer in Philly,
Right.
it's lasted for centuries.
No, it's pretty incredible.
It's been like a model for so many other democracies.
It really has.
It's really stood the test of time.
It has.
And what's really interesting is that the founding fathers, they knew
Yeah.
that they weren't creating something perfect. They knew things would change,
Right.
that society evolved.
That's right.
So they built in ways for the Constitution to change too.
Exactly. They were really forward thinking.
It's like they planted a tree,
Yeah.
knowing it would grow and change over time,
I like that.
but hoping that the roots would hold strong.
That's a great analogy.
And speaking of growth and change,
Yeah.
it's interesting that they didn't include a Bill of Rights at first.
Right. They thought the state bills of rights were enough.
Yeah, they figured we've got it covered.
Exactly.
But then when it came time for the states to actually prove the Constitution,
Uh-huh.
the lack of a Bill of Rights became a big problem.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people were really worried about that.
They were afraid of what?
They were afraid that this powerful national government could take away their basic freedoms.
Makes sense.
They wanted some guarantees.
So what did they do? Just add the Bill of Rights later?
It wasn't quite that simple.
Okay.
But yeah, basically they added it as amendments after the Constitution was already ratified.
So James Madison, who was originally against the Bill of Rights,
Right.
he ended up changing his mind.
He did.
What made him come around?
Well, he realized that they needed to have a Bill of Rights
Yeah.
to get enough states to support the Constitution.
I see. It was a political move.
In a way, yes.
But I guess it also shows that he was willing to listen to other people's concerns.
He was, and he understood that the Bill of Rights wasn't really a threat to the government. It was actually a way to protect people from the government overstepping its bounds.
Right. So the first 10 amendments
The Bill of Rights
became this really important addition to the Constitution.
They did, and those amendments have protected our basic freedoms for centuries.
It's kind of mind-blowing to think about all the history that's packed into that one document.
It's amazing.
It tells the story of our country.
Yeah, the good and the bad.
Struggles, the compromises, everything.
It's all there.
So why does all this matter to us today?
Well, the Constitution isn't just some old piece of paper.
No.
It's the foundation of our government, our laws, our rights, everything.
It's still relevant.
Absolutely. It's the framework for how our country operates.
And understanding where it came from
Yeah,
helps us understand how it works.
exactly.
It's not perfect,
No, it's not.
but it's ours.
It is.
And it's up to us to make sure it continues to protect our freedoms.
Absolutely.
It's a work in progress, right?
It is. We're always trying to make it better.
And every generation has to figure out how to apply it to the challenges of their time.
That's right. It's a living document.
I feel like I've learned so much from this deep dive.
Me too.
It's not just about memorizing dates and names.
It's about understanding the story.
Yeah, the human story behind it all.
Exactly.
So if you could go back in time
Yeah.
and change one thing about how the Constitution was created,
That's a tough one.
what would you change?
I don't know if I can answer that.
It's a tough question, I know.
But it's a good one to think about.
It makes you really examine the past.
And how it shapes the present.
Well, thank you for taking us on this deep dive into the Constitution.
It's been my pleasure.
We have lots more deep dives coming up.
We do.
So make sure you subscribe to the podcast.
And join us next time.
See you then.